Hey everyone, this is Chris with Night of the Living Card Games. I decided to start sharing some of my playthrough videos, and I'm going to start things off with some Marvel Champions. I've decided I'm going to go through the Rise of Red Skull campaign, but instead of taking just one hero through the entire campaign, I am instead going to choose a different hero for each scenario of the campaign. And then also to spice things up, I'm also randomly assigning which aspect these heroes are getting. So the 5 heroes I selected are heroes that I haven't really played very much recently, and I decided I want to get back out on the table. So I'm going to bring through Doctor Strange, and he's going to be all basic. Spectrum, who is going to be protection. Valkyrie in leadership. War Machine in justice. And finally Wasp in aggression. So let's see who gets to go up first against Crossbones. All right, let's see who's first up against Crossbones. Looks like we're taking Doctor Strange up against Crossbones. Let's see how that goes. All right, so here we are. I've got my Doctor Strange all basic deck here. I've got Crossbones set up here. So per the Rise of Red Skull campaign, Crossbone comes in with the Experimental Weapon set, the Hydra Assault set, the Weapon Master set, the Legions of Hydra set, and the Standard set. So Crossbones, we're going on Standard here. So Crossbones' first phase is a 1 scheme, 1 attack villain. He is Hydra and Mercenary traded, and he has 12 hit points per player. And he has a special ability on his attack. When Crossbones has a weapon attachment, his attacks gain piercing, which means he discards any tough cards from the character before attacking, which is a problem for Doctor Strange because he likes having his tough status. All right, taking a look at the main scheme. If we look at main scheme 1A, the attack on Mount Athena tells us to put things together, create the experimental weapon deck, and set it next to the main scheme. I moved it over here. Flip it over, we see that it is a 3 threat per player scheme. Comes in with 0 threat, goes up 1 per player. Crossbones is leading an army of Hydra soldiers in a direct assault on the Project Pegasus facility in the Adirondack Mountains. When revealed, reveal the top card of the experimental weapons deck. So let me shuffle that up here. All right, so you reveal the top card, and it is a laser rifle. Attachment gives him a +1 attack, and it also gives him ranged, which means he gets to ignore retaliate. As a hero action, I can spend an energy and a physical resource to discard this card. So he has both ranged and piercing right now. Use these nice buy the same token tokens to remind me of that. Right, let's shuffle up these decks here real quick. And then we can get to going. Now, Crossbones is an interesting matchup for Doctor Strange because the piercing gets rid of the tough that Doctor Strange loves to throw on himself. And then also there is a lot of minions potentially that could come out here depending on the encounter deck. And one thing that tends to slow down or trip up Doctor Strange is minion heavy scenarios. All right, so shuffled up. First things first, let's see what invocation is going to be at the top of my deck. And we start the game with 7 Rings of Ragador, which is a special, can give up to 3 characters each a tough status card. Well, as we said, that's not going to help us a lot. So I got a Earth's Mightiest Hero, Professor X, Cosmo, Astral Projection, Helicarrier, and Nick Fury. Ooh. Well, as nice as these would be, I'm actually going to pitch everything but Cosmo. Cosmo is great because he can just cycle through that invocation deck, just like Wong. I get a spiritual meditation, an endurance, power in all of us, another spiritual meditation, and a protective ward. All right. So first things first with Doctor Strange on his alter ego side, he has a natural talent ability, which as an action, discard the top card of the invocation deck once per phase. And he has 10 hit points. So I'm going to do that because this is not going to help me very much. And it instead gives me the Winds of Watum. So as a special, I can draw 3 cards, and that seems handy. But first things first, we're going to play Spiritual Meditation. So draw 2 cards, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. So I draw Mockingbird and Protective Ward. Okay. You know what? I got 2 Protective Wards. I'm going to get rid of one of them. And then I'm going to play my other Spiritual Meditation to draw 2 cards and do the same thing. So an Energy and an Honorary Avenger. I like both of those. You know what? I'm going to get rid of Endurance. Because I got some plans of things that I want to do. So we're going to use the power in all of us to get Cosmo out. I suppose before I even do that, let's flip up. Let's exhaust to play the Winds of Watum to draw 3 cards, which is the Eye of Agamotto, Master of the Mystic Arts, and Genius. Okay, that might change things a lot. So that goes in the bottom, and I now get the Crimson Bands of Sidorak. That definitely changes things up. All right, so I'm going to use Genius to play the Eye of Agamotto. So Eye of Agamotto is, as a hero resource, exhaust it and generate a wild resource. I am going to put an Honorary Avenger on Cosmo. I am going to use the Eye of Agamotto to play Master of the Mystic Arts, which is an event that says pay the printed cost of the top card of the invocation deck, resolve its special ability, then place it back up. So basically I get to use it twice. So that was paying for that. So I need to pay 2, which I will use energy for. So I get to stun an enemy and then deal 7 damage to him. So just like that, he is down to 5 damage. And I have 2 cards left. You know, let's... No, I don't want to use Cosmo because I don't want to... I'm going to leave that on the top of my deck for next turn. Alright, since he is stunned now and I will be able to stun him next turn, I'm going to get rid of Mockingbird. I will hold Protective Ward in my hand just in case and ready myself up. So I draw an Ironheart, a Quinn Carrier, Spiritual Meditation, and another Master of the Mystic Arts. Wow, this is very interesting then. Okay. So villain phase. 1 threat goes on the main. He would attack, but he is stunned. And our encounter card is a Hydra Soldier. He is a guard minion. So now I can't attack the main villain. But an amusing thing is about the Crimson Band of Sidorak is it's not an attack. Alright, so let's see what we got here. So let us do a Spiritual Meditation. Draw 2 cards. Oh, my Cloak of Levitation and a Strength. I like both of those. I need to discard 1. You know what? I don't really need a Queen Carrier at this point. So I'm going to spend 2 to get my Cloak of Levitation out. Yeah, I think what I'm just going to do is I'm going to use the Eye of Agamotto to play Master of the Mystic Arts again, which is again pay the printed cost on that invocation and just play it, leaving it on the top card of my deck. I'm going to spend these 2 to do it again, so I do another 7 damage to him. And he is stunned again. And we defeat stage 1. So stage 2, Crossbone becomes a 2-scheme 2 attack. Still with the same ability that when he has a weapon, he gains piercing. And he comes in with 14 hit points. And then when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Crossbones machine gun and attach it to Crossbones. Okay, let's go here and find his fancy machine gun. There we go. Crossbones machine gun is a weapon attachment that gives him +0 attack. Comes in with 2 ammo counters. Forced interrupt. When Crossbone attacks you, remove 1 ammo counter from this card, and then discard the top card of the encounter deck and take indirect damage equal to the number of boost icons on that card. Okay. So I'm going to, I guess I'll thwart for 1. Keep that down. I'll ready myself up, and I'll punch this Hydra Soldier for 1. I'm still not going to use Cosmo because I don't want to take any indirect damage or consequential damage, and I want to leave the Crimson Bands on the top. So I'm drawing 5 cards. I get Astral Projection, Honorary Avenger, Blade, Earth's Mightiest Hero, and Avengers Mansion. Alright, going to villain phase. Puts 1 threat on it. He would attack, but he is stunned. He comes and attacks for 2, and I'm just going to take it. We get 1 encounter card, and that is Crossbones Assault. Side scheme with a 2 threat per player on it, and it comes in with an acceleration token. When defeated, Crossbone activates against the player who defeated the scheme. All right, I think we might just be leaving that one out there this turn, this game. All right, so we get a +1. And then also, just so I can remind myself, when defeated. All right, my go. All right, so I think what we're going to do is we are going to spend 2. Actually, I will spend 1 off the Eye of Agamotto, and we'll spend 1 off of it and pitch Avengers Mansion. Exhaust myself to play the Crimson Bands of Sidorak. So that takes him from 14 to 7. And that stuns him. Again, it's not actually an attack per the card, so don't have to worry about that. And we get the Vapors of Valtor. I am going to use the Cloak to ready myself. I'm going to use Cosmo to thwart for 1. I'm going to call Event and discard the top card of this deck. And it is Images of Icon. So special, you can confuse a villain and then remove 4 threat from a scheme. I think what we're going to do here then is we are going to spend an Astral Projection to play Blade. Blade is going to punch for 2 on this Hydra Soldier. And we're going to pitch a Honorary Avenger. So he doesn't go away. I was going to defeat this, but then I forgot the soldier, he actually has a deal an encounter card. So I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use Earth's Mightiest Hero. I will exhaust an Avenger character, Doctor Strange, to ready a different Avengers character, which is Cosmo. Cosmo will take 1 threat off this, and I'm going to discard the top card of that, which causes this to deck out. Alright, let's see what we get on top. It is 7 rings. Not as useful, but let's see what we got here. Let's ready ourselves up. Drawing 5 cards. We get Mystic Study, Magic Blast, Power in All of Us, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and Sorcerer Supreme. Okay. So, depending on the villain phase, we should have enough damage to take him out this turn. But, as always, you got to get through the villain phase first. So 1 threat goes on the main. He would attack, but he is stunned. He attacks me, and I'm just going to take it, so that knocks me down to 6. And we get 1 encounter card, which is Caught Off Guard. Discard an upgrade or support I control. If no cards were discarded this way, this card gains Surge. Alright. We are going to get rid of... I think we're just going to get rid of the Honorary Avenger. Sorry, Cosmo, you're no longer an Avenger. It's the way this works sometimes. Alright. Cosmo is going to attack for 1. And he's going to call Event. So we do that. And we get the Winds of Watum. So that defeats this guy. And he has a When Defeated effect. When defeated, deal the engaged player an encounter card. So we've got that. We are just going to end this then. So we're going to spend 3. Sorcerer Supreme, Earth's Mightiest Hero, and Power in All of Us to do a Magic Blast. So deal 5 damage to an enemy. And discard the top card of your deck. And depending on the printed icon, so it is an energy, deal 2 damage to that enemy. And just like that, Doctor Strange uses a Magic Blast on Crossbones and takes him out. Alright, real quick, I just wanted to go through the deck that I just used. I will put a link to the deck below in the notes. So first, looking at my allies, grab Blade, who's pretty good, especially for taking out minions as long as you've got that fist resource, but importantly, he's an Avenger, which combos with the Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Cosmo, who is key to Doctor Strange, because just like Wong, Cosmo can cycle through your invocation deck to help you get the spell that you want, and he also gives you a bonus of an extra thwart or damage to do that. Ironheart, one of the best allies in the game, cheap 2, gives you a free card. Mockingbird, I know Doctor Strange loves stuns, but toughs, I take that back, and can hand out some different statuses, but it's always good to have a stun handy. Nick Fury, one of the best allies in the game. You get some cards back, you get damage, or it can be emergency threat removal. Professor X just came out, and he's also up there with Nick Fury, just being able to pull out a free Confuse or stun a minion. And if you're an X-Men, you can actually ready, and then to get a thwart of 3 out of him is great, and then chump blocks. And War Machine at the end, he's a pretty decent ally, but the important thing is he also has the Avengers trait, and so he will also be used with Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So looking at the events, I've got 3 copies of Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So again, that is so you can exhaust one Avengers character to ready another one. So I could ready Doctor Strange up to do another invocation, or if necessary, with Honorary Avengers, which I've got later, maybe stand back up Cosmo or Wong to be able to cycle through my invocations. I've also got 3 copies of Spiritual Meditation, which is great in Doctor Strange. You can only play it if you're a mystic, and Doctor Strange, very nicely, is a mystic in both alter ego and hero mode, so you can play it any time. Just helps cycle through the deck and get you the cards you want faster. And finally, I threw 1 copy of First Aid in, with Cosmo and Wong being such important parts of Doctor Strange. I wanted to have a way to heal them just in case anything happened to them. For resources, we have our standard double resources, Energy, Genius, and Strength. And then because this is an all basic deck, I had to throw in 2 powers in all of us, so I get the double resources for any of the basic cards. Supports, I have the standard suite of Avengers resource generators, Avengers Mansion, Helicarrier, and Queen Carrier. Always good value if you get them out early enough. Didn't really need them in this game, but not bad to have. And finally, for upgrades, I threw in 1 copy of Endurance because Doctor Strange can get dumped on with damage if there is a bunch of minions out, and so having a 3 extra hit points seems good. As I mentioned earlier, I threw in 2 copies of Honorary Avengers so I could throw on Cosmo and on Wong and play with Earth's Mightiest Heroes and just cycle through my deck as much as possible. And then finally, Sorcerer Supreme, which if you're a Mystic, you almost have to include that card. Gives you a +1 hand size in hero form, and it is so clutch. So that was my deck. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. If you did, feel free to give me a like, leave a comment below. If you're interested, subscribe. I'll be putting out more of these videos. My next one will be up against Absorbing Man, and I'll see what random hero gets selected for that one. Thanks, everybody.